What I love about taking trains is you get to see these, little industrial towns or rural villages. You're just flying by at 300 kilometers an hour, but you're seeing a side of China that you never really get to see anywhere. I think most people have never heard of these towns. Even Chinese people probably have no idea. If you said the name of this town, they wouldn't know. There's thousands of cities, towns and cities in China. 1.7 billion people. The country's just too big to know every part. So that's one reason I love taking the train in China. I think that's why most people like taking the trains, I guess. It's also super comfortable. The cool thing, China, as you know, is a socialist country. It's socialism with Chinese characteristics, so it has a lot of capitalism as well. My viewers would say you can't really describe China's system with a few English words because it's not really, it's not so easily describable. You have to really study the system. But what I'm trying to say is that the high-speed train companies are government, they're state-owned, right? So that's why it's so affordable to go on them. They're not profit-driven. They're not trying to grow. They're not trying to break quarters. Private companies, they're trying to grow perpetually, right? So they want to make sure that every quarter there's growth. How do you have never-ending growth? The only things that have never-ending growth that I know of are cancer, right? Cancers are things that can't stop growing. That's why free market capitalism just is a kind of an archaic way to look at economies and things like that. And, from what I'm learning, socialism is really a step ahead of capitalism. It's kind of a correction, if you will, of the capitalist system. Anyway, so yeah, the high-speed rail in China is government state-owned, and like I said, that's why it's so affordable. I mean, I'm traveling 500 kilometers on a high-speed, high-tech technology, and it's only cost me $50 Canadian. There's no way you can find something like that in Canada. I mean, in Canada, going 500 kilometers would probably cost you $50 Canadian or more on a bus. And that bus ain't going 300 kilometers an hour, man. It's going to take you quite a while to get there. Now, looking at these scenes right now, it just looks like China's industrial towns, China rural areas look very nice, right? You can see that the money, there has been a trickle effect from the big cities to the smaller towns. And it actually makes sense because as cities get more and more expensive, people in China are more and more inclined to go back to the smaller towns, smaller cities, because they just can't afford to live in the big cities. The housing prices of the big cities are insane. And so, a good system has the supply and demand, right? So if the big cities are just priced out for a lot of people, well, they just go back and then they bring their skills and talents and their business ideas back to smaller towns, and they develop those smaller towns. And then eventually even gets down to the village level. And that's why what I've seen when I travel around China, everywhere I go, I can see that people's lives are improving. And when they compare themselves to past generations, it's just literally incomparable. You cannot compare, 90s Chinese people with 2000s Chinese people with 2010s Chinese people. And now in the 2020s, Chinese people are just getting richer and richer and more knowledgeable. So it totally makes sense that, there was a survey there's a survey by Yale University, and it said, something like 90% of Chinese people are satisfied with the government. Well, of course, because if 90% of the country is improving and their lives have drastically gotten better, then of course they're supportive. Why wouldn't you? Why would you hate a system that's benefiting you and making your life so much better? The socialist system is really working. Because just like this high-speed train, a lot of things in China are not based on profit. You know, the profit motive, which American economists always promote, is not always the best thing. Just wanting never-ending growth is absolutely not. It's just not the best philosophy or the best way to build a society, right? Because in capitalist societies, it's easy. Once you have a lot of money, it's easy to dominate industries. It's easy to get monopolies. And when you have a monopoly, now no one's competing with you. You could set prices, and you're driven by profit motives. You're just driven by getting richer. You're not driven by the overall standard of people's lives. Which, as you can see here by this video, just we're zooming by all these small towns, industrial towns, and rural villages. You can see it looks pretty damn good. And look how new everything looks, right? So everything here has been built in the last probably 20 years. Some places less. Everything looks brand new. China has really developed an incredible speed. And I'm not trying to do some propaganda. I'm just telling you what I see. I get no benefit from saying that China is doing really well. The only benefit I have is that by telling you guys what China's really like, hopefully, if you live in the West, you're not going to want to bomb this place, right? Why would you want to bomb a bunch of people trying to enjoy their lives, trying to get better? Doesn't make no sense. I'll upload the videos of me traveling through Canada and other countries as well. I'm very happy to show you my happy experiences traveling around the world, not just China. And it's getting a little bit louder now, you can hear it, right? But it's still not that bad. Oh, these houses look really cool, wow. Look at those apartments. These are really cool. I have no idea where we're at, but it's really nice, this town. I do have to check my map and see. It's a huge complex. Look at that. Monstrous apartment blocks. Alright, let me check my map and see where we are right now.